So a lot of people will say, like, how do you know when you're ready for a change? Like, how do you know when you know? We've become really disassociated from our own, like, intrinsic feeling, like that gut instinct, the interoception, that feeling of, like, yeah, that sixth sense, like, I just got that feeling. We've become really disassociated from that. And I remember when I was when I had my girls, and everyone was living their life by the Gina Ford book. I don't know whether anybody was familiar with that, but it basically was a very, very structured, like completely opposite to me, very, very structured way of bringing your baby up. Like to the minute. So you fed the baby, breastfeeding the baby at this specific time, and then you put the baby down to sleep at this specific time, and then you walked away at this specific time. And it was like everything that this book was telling me, I was like, that just feels completely wrong for me. For other people, I'm sure it was great. For me, it felt wrong. So how did I know that that wasn't for me? How do you know when you know something doesn't feel right? How do you know when you're ready for a change? How do you know when you want to walk away from the job, walk away from the relationship, reset yourself? How do you know that feeling? And if you're really busy all the time, that's another really difficult thing, because we're so busy doing the do that we don't actually go, hold on a minute, like, how do I actually feel about this? What's actually going on physiologically? Because we'll feel it in our bodies way before our brains catch up. So sometimes you might find that you get a bit of eczema, you start getting a bit of a upset tummy, or you're just feeling like you're restless at night and you can't sleep properly. Our bodies will be feeling this, and then our brains go, oh, hold on a minute, that's because that thing that I know that I've been really unhappy about, or I've been excited about and wanting to do but haven't, is telling me that this is time to make the change. So how do you know? You know when you know. And my strong suspicion is, if you've got that feeling, and you'll know whether you've got it, that's because you know. And I know that sounds a lot of knowing in there. But I remember asking various people about, when do you know that a relationship is over, for example? How long do you give a relationship until you go, actually, this just isn't working? And somebody who I trust implicitly said, you know when you know. And until you know, you've got that feeling, that unwavering, like, I'm out. This is not, no more. No more Pedro, like, then there's still some wiggle room. So if you are thinking, I've got this feeling and it's not going away, am I ready to make a change? Then the answer is yes, because you've got that feeling. And if you don't have that feeling and you're not quite sure what that feeling is, take stuff out of your diary so you're less busy, so that you can give yourself and your brain some space to think and feel and think, yeah, is what I'm doing what I want? Is this working in the way that I want it to work? Am I living life, without sounding too trite, in a way that I really want to be? Or am I just kind of passing through, waiting for the punctuations of Christmas, which most people hate, and birthdays or a holiday, where essentially you're doing what you would already be doing at home, but just somewhere else with less of your own stuff? So how do you know when you know? Because you feel it. And if you don't know if you don't feel it yet, quieten your life. Feel it inside your body. And then when you make a decision, take action. I mean, I've used this, and I continue to use this, like, daily. Trusting my intuition. I have massive self-trust. I rely on my intuition and my ability to be able to handle stuff. So when I was told, when my eldest daughter, she's fine. She's absolutely fine. Fine. She's fine at school. Have you thought about a parenting course? Brilliant. That's a fucking belter of an idea. Triple P parenting course written by somebody who does know nothing about neurodiversity. Yeah, I've thought about that. And I'm telling you, she needs some support. I need some support. You need some support. And this isn't going to stay like this. I knew. I had that feeling. Mother's intuition, whatever. I knew something had to change. Yet everything around me was telling me everything's fine. You stay with the status quo. Don't upset the apple cart, for God's sake. So when I was told by everybody about my daughter not being, what was the words they used? Things like she wasn't that bad. That bad. I never suggested she was bad. She didn't need that much help. No, she did. She needed different help. She needed different support. So I could have been somebody, if I didn't trust myself, if I didn't listen to that feeling inside saying, when do you know? I would have laid down and gone, yeah, do you know what? You're right. You're the professionals. You're the people around me telling me that I just need to basically sit down and be quiet. Be the good girl. Shut up. We know better. She's fine. You're the problem. Not on my watch. So sharpen your elbows. Listen to your intuition. And when you know something has to change, buckle the fuck up. Because sometimes you have to really sharpen your elbows and push against a system and an environment which tells you that you should be staying quiet. So whether it be for your children, whether it be for yourself, whether it be for the wider community, whatever. When you know, you know. And if you've got that feeling, act on it. So if you've loved what you've heard, I would really appreciate you subscribing, sharing it with your friends, family, colleagues, waifs and strays. They are all welcome here. You can click the subscribe button, and in the episode description there is going to be a link where you can get in touch with me, and I'm here for it. So get in touch. I would love to hear from you and see how I can help you.